All right, welcome back. So now I'm just going to keep moving forward with the run. With the last video, we got the legs down at the end, and by down I just mean we got the main poses worked out or in place. There's still going to be a lot of work to do on touching them up and finalizing them, along with the hips and the torso and the arms, because those are things the torso and the arms we didn't even touch for the most part. So, and if you look at it from the front, it looks ridiculous. So I really have just given myself something to work with. The only thing I've done so far before popping on the video is translate X and translate Z. Since I'm working in Z up, in this case, my translate Z is side to side, and translate X is up and down. So ignore if I'm talking about translate Z, Y, X, and you're seeing me go up and down, left and right. Focus on that. Don't focus on the letter of the axis. It's irrelevant when I explain up and down, left and right, back and forward, and so on. Those are the things you need to be listening to. So the only thing I did with this is on translate Z, I got rid of the keys in between first, middle, and last, because I'm in the polish. I mean, not in the polish, but I'm in auto tangents now, so I'm not worried about things being all on the same key. I don't need all the controls to be keyed on 1 and 3 and 7 and so on. At this point, I can be a little bit more free because I know what I'm dealing with the run cycle. I'm not exploring some untapped resource of information. I'm really just walking it through for you. So if you need to stay in the linear step mode, please do it. Whatever makes you comfortable, whatever helps you get to the point of understanding this. You don't have to follow my workflow verbatim unless you want to. And don't ever get rid of your static curves. I know there's a lot of animators that will delete by type static channels, which all that does is you see here on like the rotate Z, nothing's happening. So if I delete static channels, it'll delete anything doesn't have any keys or doesn't have any value changes in the keys, which is fine when you get towards the end if you really want to do that. But if during the course of this I would decide that I do want rotation on Z, then I want that to be there. I don't want to have to think about the fact that, oh, I deleted static channels. Now I got to go back and key. I don't want to worry about that. I'd rather have some screwed up curves in the middle here to delete and to have my pose intact than to have to worry about having to go back and undo and all that jazz. It's not worth it. Just leave. Your static channels aren't doing anything. They're just sitting there. They're static. You don't have to touch them until you want to. All right, so let's tighten up this torso and get everything looking right in the lower half. And make sure everything's looking good on the feet first. So when you're working through stuff like this, it is important to have your graph editor open to see when you want to make little changes like this. Can you delete this, and is it going to cause any much of a difference in the animation? As far as I'm concerned with that one, no. This isn't going through and checking all your keys. Does this matter? Does that matter? Does that matter? That's not the point. The point is, as I'm working through this and I'm wanting to see where can I make changes with this? Can I make changes with it going up and down? I see that my leg is completely stretched right here. What can I do to avoid that? Is it something in the curve that I can change the value? I don't want to change the Y going back, so I'm going to see if I can adjust apparently the Z. Come on, you can do it. There we go. adjust the Z just slightly. See, obviously we don't want this where it's not touching the ground. And granted, you have to be careful with getting too nitpicky. Those are definitely things you want to get nitpicky about, because not paying attention to those can lead to disaster if you continue not to pay attention to them and then you don't recognize it when it's a little bit worse off than that. So you must pay attention to those things. But with what I just did with looking at it sideways and seeing that slight little value change, sometimes that's good, sometimes it matters. But you also have to be careful and think about the bigger picture with that. It might not matter if it's this teeny tiny little detail that might not be picked up whatsoever. You're not going to animate something that is way back here, and that's all you're going to see the character at. You're never going to see him any closer. Well, you're not going to worry about, oh, but is his foot touching the ground right there? If it's not, people are going to think I'm a terrible artist. Oh my God, I can't. So you just have to be aware of that. Be careful.